Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Town's Property Standards and Animal Services Appeals Committee meeting this evening. My name is Lindsay McNally. I'm chair of the committee, and I would ask that anyone with an electronic device turn it off or to silence so that we don't disturb the meeting. It's 7:02 p.m., and I'll call the meeting to order. To start, I'd like to read the Town of Ajax land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather is situated within the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas, more specifically, the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, signatories of the Gunshot Treaty of 1788 and the Williams Treaties of 1923. This land is and will continue to be home to the Indigenous peoples. Let us acknowledge the mistakes and traumas of the past with authenticity and support truth and reconciliation. Let us engage and celebrate Indigenous communities by being leaders of action, acknowledging the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada's recommendations towards truth and reconciliation. Let us keep these principles close as we continue towards truth and reconciliation and move forward with kindness and respect as a community. Now I'm going to give a brief overview of the committee's role and the process in which we'll move through the appeals this evening. The Town of Ajax Property Standards and Animal Services Property Standards Appeal Committee and the Animal Services Appeal Committee have full delegation of the authority of the Building Code Act and the Municipal Act to hear appeals. The committee shall hear evidence presented by witnesses, town bylaw staff, property owners, the owners of the dog, or other individuals that may have evidence relating to the case, and make decisions on the status of either the property standards order or an order to restrain by confirming, modifying, rescinding, or extending the time for complying with the order. If an individual or the town does not agree with the decision of the committee with regards to the property standards decision, the order may be appealed to the Superior Court of Justice. If an individual or the town does not agree with a decision of the committee with regards to an order to restrain decision, the order may be appealed to the General Government Committee of the town. All appeal processes will be outlined in the written decisions of the committee, which will be mailed to the appellants. The format of our meeting is that each appeal will be heard in the order listed on the agenda. Town staff will present their testimony to the committee. The committee will then ask the officer questions. At the conclusion of committee questions, the appellant will also have the option to ask questions of the officer. This process will continue for each witness that will give testimony on behalf of the town. After the town has concluded their case, the appellant will present their testimony to the committee. The committee will ask the appellant questions, and at the conclusion of committee questions, town staff will also have the option to ask questions of the appellant. This process will continue for each witness that will give testimony on behalf of the appellant. At the conclusion of the presentation of evidence, each side will be asked to summarize their respective positions, starting with the town. The committee will then deliberate in a public forum, and it's important that the appellant remain present in case there are additional questions raised by members. So with that said, I'm going to move forward with our agenda this evening. The second item really being the disclosure of conflict of interest. Is there any conflict of interest to disclose? Okay, seeing none, I'll move along. The next item is the approval of the minutes from the July 12th, 2023 meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? No, does someone want to make a motion to approve? Okay, all in favor? Okay, that motion is carried. Oh, right. How do I do this again? Apologies, they've put new technology on me since the last time I was here.
Madam Chair, the button should be appearing on your control device now.
Thank you. Maybe we'll give it a moment.
We can restart that vote.
Okay. Is there anything further we need to do? There we go. So the next item on our agenda is an animal services appeal Bowers, 105 Daniels Crescent. I understand that the appellant is not here with us yet this evening. Would anyone on the committee like to make a motion to suspend the rules and change the order of our agenda to allow them more time to arrive? Thank you. All in favor? Please vote on your button. Okay, great. Thank you. That motion is carried. So we'll change the order of our agenda here. The next item we will hear is the Property Standards Appeal, Fair Barn, 925 Pickering Beach Road. Let me just get to my notes here on that one. And who do we have here on behalf of the town? Is it Officer Guarini? Guarini? Okay. Could you please present your testimony?
Good afternoon. On June 7th, the Town of Ajax Bylaw Services received a complaint regarding 925 Pickering Beach Road. The complainant expressed multiple concerns surrounding the property in that the complaint included expressed concerns for a double axle trailer located on the driveway, a large commercial vehicle that was also stored at the property, and concerns for a dead tree in the rear yard. An inspection was conducted of the front yard that day, where I observed a double axle trailer located on the driveway. I did conduct a door knock. The appellant wasn't home at the time, so I left a business card requesting to contact me. I was unable to access the rear yard, like I said, I put the business card in the door requesting the appellant to call me. On June 12th, I received a voicemail from the appellant requesting a call back. I returned the call to the appellant and explained the reason for my visit, in that the double axle trailer will require removal as it's not permitted in accordance with the Town of Ajax zoning bylaw. I also expressed concern for the dead tree in the rear yard, at which point we scheduled an inspection for Friday, June 16th at 10 a.m. On June 16th, I met with the appellant at 925 Pickering Beach Road to conduct an inspection. The double axle trailer was removed from the property, and an inspection of the rear yard was conducted, where I observed a large hollow stump that was decaying, that was approximately 6 to 10 feet tall. It did have leafage growing from it, but I explained to the appellant that the stump would be considered dead vegetation, in accordance with our property standards bylaw. The response from the appellant was that the tree is actively growing leafage and is still alive. I did take pictures during the inspection. They are included in your appeal package. On July 6th, Property Standards Order File Number 23105-454 was issued and dated on July 6th. The order was sent by prepaid registered mail. Inside the contents of the order, I requested that the appellant remove the large tree stump in the rear yard and remove all debris created as a result of the tree removal in a legal manner. In accordance to Section 4.17, dead or decayed trees shall be removed. On July 14th, the Town of Ajax received a notice of appeal from the appellant, which is included in your appeal package. On July 19th, an appeal notification letter advising the appellant of the time, date, and location of the upcoming Property Standards Animal Services Appeals Committee meeting was sent by prepaid registered mail. On August 4th, as I was out of the office, my colleague Officer Farrell attended the property with Rockwood Tree Services to obtain an arborist report on the current condition of the tree. I received an arborist report on the current condition of the tree, which is also included in the appeal package. I would like to mention that the arborist stated that the large willow tree located at the back of the property has been heavily compromised from a previous storm. Given the nature of the species, the overall general health is fair but extremely compromised structurally. The tree has exhibited signs of new growth but is hollow throughout. It will continue to sprout new growth as seasons progress, but so will the decay within the base, which will also spread. The arborist did mention that proper ISA standard pruning practices has not been exhibited, and assumptions can be placed that proper pruning practices were not performed prior to storm damage, as the amount of decay is extremely severe.
Is your testimony complete? Or your evidence complete? Thank you. Does the committee have any questions for the officer? If you could press your button to request to speak. Thanks, Paul.
Question, in terms of the height of the tree, you'd stated just now that it's approximately 6 to 10 feet tall. The arborist report stated it was 15 to 20 feet tall. Is it just the stump that's 6 to 10 feet tall? Looking for some clarification.
Yes, so in my observation, the 6 to 10 feet would be my estimate for the stump itself, not the leafage that's growing at the side of the hollow stump there.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
My question for bylaw is, in your opinion, if the tree were to fall, is it close enough to the neighbor's home to cause damage to their property?
If the tree was to fall, there's definitely a potential to damage the fence, the shared fence, but I don't believe it would reach the dwelling.
Okay, thank you.
Any other committee questions for the officer? Okay, seeing none. Is it Mr. Fairbairn? Yeah, feel free to approach. This is your opportunity to ask any questions you may have of the officer.
Do I have to say my name? Oh, I'm Larry Fairbairn. I have really no questions. The only thing is it's not one tree, it was a cluster of trees, so that's why the hollow part takes part. But yeah, it looks like a little tiki hut, and then I built like a Gothic door.
Well, Mr. Fairbairn, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You're going to have a chance to talk to us about your side in a
okay.
moment. This is just your opportunity. If you have any questions for the officer, you can feel free to ask any questions.
I have no questions for him.
Okay, great. So we'll be back with you in just 1 second.
Perfect.
Thanks. Do we have any other witnesses here on behalf of the town?
No.
No, thank you. Okay, Mr. Fairbairn, I know you just sat down, but it is now your opportunity to present your testimony.
I did my name. I have no idea. This is my first, I'm new at this stuff, so. The willow, my neighbor, they renovated a whole window just to watch the willow. The willow, I don't know, willows are beautiful. It did fall, but now it looks like a tiki hut, and then I put a Gothic door, so it looks, he was saying there's a light in it, not, I'm kind of artsy-fartsy guy. My neighbors, they love it. I've been there 20 years. I don't know if I have a problem with my neighbor, kind of, just from things, but I know I'm not here to talk about him. It's just a tree, but my dog loves it. It's shade for us. I don't know what to say, I don't get to see my neighbor, which is perfect for me. I'm not a troublemaker, I just try and live my life, I grew up on the streets, and I turned my life around. I bought a house, that's all, It's in God's hands, I guess, and yours. Thanks, I don't know what to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fairbairn. Don't run away just yet. The committee may have questions for you. Yeah. Does the committee have any questions for Mr. Fairbairn? Can you press your button to request? Yeah, there we go.
I guess 2 questions. Does the willow overhang the fence or any part of the fence with the neighbor?
Not at all. And the willow, it's just strands. It's just some like vegetation that's grew. like, I don't know if you've seen the picture, but it does look like a tiki hut. I'll trim it, I'll do whatever, I'll make it look pretty, you know? It's just I'm so busy, I'm self-employed, and, you know, I try and work for everybody, and I even work for the government. I know that doesn't matter, but, you know, I try to be an upstanding citizen, you know? In a couple of weeks, I'll be coming up to 29 years without any booze, you know? I know that doesn't mean much, but I try to be a good neighbor, you know? I don't know what to say to defend my tree. My neighbors love the tree. We all love the tree. It's not gonna fall on his house. It's about 4 or 5 feet away from his fence. It keeps me, I have no other trees in my backyard, you know? I like trees. There's so many forest fires going on right now, you know? I like to try and save mine, you know? Again, I don't know what to say. I just,
Okay, my second question was, when was the last time the tree was pruned? Or has it been pruned in the past?
I cut, like, when it fell down a couple years ago in that big tornado we had. That's why it went down. It was a tornado. It took half my roof off. I had to do that. And you know, it was that storm a couple years ago that just went and, at that time when it was 100 feet in the air, I used to prune it all the time because it's a willow. I couldn't get up on top, but I just try to make it as neat as possible. And you know, like before, it used to go over the fence, and my neighbor did cut some off, and I was cutting a few. It's the tree. It must be almost 200 years old. I seen a picture of it in 1938, and it was pretty big at that time. It's not that big. It's a willow. It just, you know, I don't know.
I know it's a nerve-wracking experience. You're doing just fine. The committee has some more questions for you.
Oh, yeah, go on.
Hi. Just a question with regards to the storm that took most of the tree down. You say that it was a tornado that occurred approximately when?
Oh, it was terrible. It took all the fencing down.
When did that occur?
It was August, not last year, the year before,
Okay.
when the whole town got hit.
So it
got
was
hit.
approximately a year or 2 years.
2 years ago.
In that time frame, how much has it grown new growth? Like how many feet would you say, or inches, or are you able to estimate how much it's grown since that time?
Well, in the winter, everything dies off. So it's just all the leaves. Like willows are dirty trees. Like they come out with seeds and all that. So it's grown like not the stump, just the willow part. It's just growing. It's touching the ground right now. I don't know. Like which way you mean, high or
In
round?
height wise, yes.
Oh, nothing. It's not growing height ways. It's just growing a little. It's not the height that's growing.
Okay. Thank you.
It's yeah. I don't know. It's just new limbs.
Thank you.
I have a question for you with respect to the structural integrity of the tree. You know, appreciating that trees are wonderful assets to have on your property that provide shade and all of the good things that you've talked about. The concern with respect to the tree is the decay in the stump, right? The idea that the tree could come down. Have you at any point had the tree assessed by an arborist yourself to see if there is opportunity of things that you could do to make sure that the tree does not come down?
The guy that cut when the tree went down, and the one that had to come and remove all the other trees that were dead on the front on his property, he didn't understand why there was a concern to take it down. He didn't see nothing wrong with it. and that was the one that my neighbor called on. Like there's bark all around it. There's one section that I'd be gladly, what the arborist was talking at the 15-20, it's just a broken piece, but it's way up. That's where he got the 15-20 feet from. The rest it's just like a lowrider. But all of it, like I inspected it, it's all got like healthy bark. It's just it is hollow in the middle, but that was because it's been like 2 or 3 trees there. And that's how it grew. It grew for like, I don't know, a couple 100 years maybe, or 100 and something anyways.
So when you've talked about the pruning practices that you've done in the past, that's been you pruning the tree, or has it been a professional arborist?
Me and my friends, there's a professional that's done it, from my ex's, one of her cousins or something went up there and he chopped down a whole bunch in there. He was swinging around and, yeah, he was a professional. But there's not much left. You know, there's not much left. Like, as Dan said, it's like 6, 8 feet tall or something, except for that one. But I'd gladly taken that other one, that one down. There's that one stick where it broke off, one limb broke off. I'd gladly remove that or anything I got to do with it.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other committee questions for the appellant? Okay. Officer Guarini, do you have any questions for the appellant?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. Mr. Fairbarner, you're here alone tonight. You don't have any other witness giving evidence on your behalf?
No.
Okay.
I live by my own.
Okay, thank you. So the last thing that we're going to do just before the committee deliberates is both the town and yourself will have an opportunity to restate your position, but we're going to start with the town. So officer, do you want to go ahead?
The position would still stand in regards to the order to remove the large tree stump in the rear yard and remove all debris created as a result of the tree removal in a legal manner.
Thank you. And Mr. Fairbarn, you have an opportunity to re-summarize your position as well.
I don't understand.
You're just going to sort of tell the committee in very briefly sort of what you're looking for out of this meeting. The committee is about to deliberate and make a determination about your appeal. So sometimes it's helpful if you tell us really what you're looking to accomplish in your own words.
Oh, I just like to, save my tree. That's all I want, is to save my tree. It's, I don't know what to say, but,
Okay, thank you very much. If you want to have a seat, the committee is going to deliberate.
Yeah.
But I just want to remind you, it's good if you remain present for us in case we have additional questions while we're talking, okay?
Yeah,
Take a seat.
thank you.
Do any committee members have initial thoughts that you want to share? If you could just request to speak on your pad there.
I guess my biggest concern looking at this was, is the tree safe for Larry and also Titan as well? You both like to use the tree for shade. So my initial thought was, well, it's large enough structure that it could come down and potentially harm yourself if being under it, or the house or your neighbor's house. But hearing that, the stump is 6 to 10 feet tall, I'm kind of scratching my head and asking if with proper pruning, could this tree be made safe? Now the arborist has stated that it's the decay is extreme, and you can't really say when it could come down. But that's a lot of risk to take on, and if someone were to get hurt and we were to keep the tree, there would be a lot of onus on ourselves and the town if something tragic were to happen.
Yeah, I mean, same thing, like I refer to the arborist report that says extremely compromised structurally. Although there's no imminent, like, danger that it presents right away, I mean, it could just take one more storm for the rest of it to come down. And I mean, if it's structurally compromised, I don't think that tree is going to revive back to itself. Like, you're almost better off taking it down and putting a new one up, or planting a new tree or something like that.
Sorry, I was looking and not pushing the button. I'm a little bit conflicted. I do think that the tree doesn't seem like it's going to grow, but the arborist report mentioned that the overall general health is fair. So I'm not sure how we would word this, but like if the tree was pruned, the uppermost part that seems to be the most dead was removed, I think I'd be okay with that.
Thank you. I have a few concerns in terms of dealing with a dead and decaying tree, yet the photos indicate quite a bit of new growth. My concern with the amount of new growth with willows in particular is they get to a point where they get very heavy. And, at what point will the additional new growth compromise the already compromised structure and result in a failure of the tree integrity and end up damaging fence, damaging structure, or damaging a person or animal. So that's more my concern is that there does appear to be a lot of new growth, but the foundation itself of the tree is severely compromised. And with more new growth comes more weight. With more weight comes more stress to the compromised wood. And my concern is that this is a tragedy waiting to happen.
It sounds to me as though the committee generally has consensus about the way to move forward, and I'm wondering if there is a motion that anyone would like to put on the table at this time.
I would motion to uphold the order as written, with the same timeline provided initially, but starting today.
Okay, thank you. I think we're going to be voting on our screens. And that motion is carried. Mr. Fairbairn? The committee has deliberated, and we do advise that this evening the order will be upheld. A written decision will be mailed to you following the meeting. And if you do not agree with the committee's decision, the appeals process will be detailed in the written decision that's mailed to you, and I've outlined those options earlier in the evening. Thank you very much for your participation. Pardon me? No, now is not the appropriate time for that. Thank you. It's not the appropriate time, sir. Thank you. So we're back to item 4.1 on our agenda. I believe our appellant still is not here. So just as a procedural matter, staff, the procedure is to simply uphold the order. Do we need to do a motion for that?
To the chair, that's correct. You do a motion now to uphold the order as they're deemed not to dispute. At the time the meeting was called to order, if an appellant isn't here, they're deemed not to dispute.
Okay, thank you. Would any committee members like to make that motion? Go ahead.
I will make a motion to uphold the Animal Services Appeal 4.11.
Okay, all in favor on your screens, please. And that motion is carried. The next item I have on the agenda is a verbal update on the Property Standards Appeal Owl Kazay at 90 Church Street South.
To the committee, the order was upheld and amended to allow till August 8th. The officer responsible for that file, due to vacations and scheduling, has not had an opportunity to re-inspect as of yet, so there's no update on the property at this time.
Okay, thank you. Is there any new business to discuss this evening? I don't think so.
The town has no new business.
I believe we've concluded the business for which this meeting was called. Could I entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting? Okay, are we voting on this on our screens as well? Yeah. And that motion is carried. Thanks everyone for your time.